foot time. So I've got my slip container, I've got my little container of water, I've got my paintbrush, I've got a couple of my sticks, I've got my toothpick, I've got paper clip here if I need to, all this good stuff. And now what I'm gonna do is I will end up attaching, and I'm just looking here too to see like which is gonna be the cleaner spot. In terms of my edges, it looks like this is gonna be the cleaner spot of the two, because I wanna have my cleaner, more flat edge to be the very bottom. And that one's got the texture from the knife, so that's gonna be my spot that I'm attaching it. All right, so this one is nice and even, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually have it starting in the middle because it is gonna end up curving. And I wanna have the rounded corners because my little plate is rounded. And so I want it to just mimic and repeat that same curve. And what I'm doing is just trying to eyeball and kind of figure out where I would have that. You could have it more linear. You could have it a different shape. You could have it a triangle. But what I'm looking to see is that you challenge yourself and you try a different foot, so different than what you did with your pinch pot. And I'm just trying to like keep the edges. And then what I can tell is that I'm gonna end up having to slice my chunk for sure here, and I'm gonna go at this spot, and then I'm just gonna have a little strip, which will be great because then I can salvage some more of this clay so I'm not wasting a ton of it. But this just got to the point where it started to get a little bit thin. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start my first cut, and I'm looking for about a 45-degree slice. That way when I attach my other piece to it, it's a little bit more stable than just having one swoop down through. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And I'm just pressing into my finger. The knife obviously isn't that sharp. It's not attached to anything. But if you notice, since I have already curved these corners, I'm really trying not to manipulate that anymore. All right, next slice. Yum, some of my hair. Woof, that got a little rough. This side's pretty though. Okay, so if you still have your little slice from your edge, right, you know that that's gonna be what that is. So you can just figure out kind of how to line that up and then use that to trace. Work smarter, not harder. And I cut off enough chunks to just have it so that it looked a little bit cleaner. Looks good. Okay, and then I'm just pushing it right up against it before I make that final bend. Okay. Looks pretty solid there. And then from the inside, I can actually go ahead and just kind of slice through right where it needs to be. Because again, since I've already bent and curved that, I don't want to transition that any more than I have to. All right, that should be good enough. Perfect. Okay. Again, this is all good clay. I might end up using that in the future for something, so rather than letting it sit out and drying up, I'm just gonna set it in here. I'll let those stacks kind of stay on top of one another. And then, whatever, slip now. Okay, so what do we do now? Where do we go from here, right? Bam, it's done, Miss Henriksen. Look, I have my foot. And then you just take a picture of it and you send it to me. And you're like, see, she can't even tell because she's in her house. Nope, not going to work. Okay. You are going to carefully remove your foot. And because it's in separate pieces, you can just take it apart. Before you do that, I would suggest tracing or marking of some sort, just so that you know where you're going to end up scratching and attaching. So I'm just taking this little stick and just going right along the inside edge. So I'm not actually like carving into it necessarily, just enough that it's got that edge to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and scooch this out of the way. So scoring is when you are attaching your pieces, and you had to do that already with your foot when you made your pinch pot. But again, depending on, you know, what exactly it is that you're doing, you might need to score more than you typically would. Slabs can be super, super fidgety, and so like I'm really digging in. For your attendance today, I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to have you do to dive in.